Before we get started, don't forget to check out Inside the Mech Box at airsplat.com on youtube.com. Fantastic videos there you don't want to miss. Alright, this is going to be the second part of the Echo 1 CSR review, the counter sniper rifle. This is going to be the internals of the gun we're checking out today, the gearbox, the hop-up, the barrel, and the motor. Now let's start with the barrel and the hop-up chamber. One thing I really love about this barrel is the fact that it is long. And it's really hard to actually find upgrade or replacement barrels for this. Usually you gotta have them custom made. The longest you can usually get in a store is 650 millimeters. This is a 680 millimeter barrel. Wow. With heavy ammo, this is gonna get you some pretty awesome range and accuracy. Now the hop-up, to the best of my knowledge, is proprietary. It is metal, which is a plus there. Usually plastic chambers can on occasion crack when you're working on them. I've had that happen. So metal, that's good in my book. It does have a matable orange bucking in there, which is a plus. I've had really good results with those in other guns. What I really like about this is the fact that each little notch is an adjustment. You can click and click and click and really precisely tune your hop-up, which is a really nice thing. Plus with this click system, little notch it clicks into, it's not going to decrease your hop when the gearbox vibrates and fires. Now this barrel is a little dirty. I have yet to clean it. But you can just see here, you can adjust the hop-up very, very finely here. And if you can find heavy ammo that'll allow you to shoot with the hop-up that far on, then kudos. Now the gearbox and motor. A lot of parts in this are proprietary, so keep in mind only a handful of things can be upgraded. The motor cage, as far as I can tell, is from an AK-47. Now this gearbox does come with a high torque motor. There's a lot of torque in that pinion, it's very tough to pull. And it does have a D-hole pinion. Those are becoming a little harder to find. Now there are a number of plates and screws that you have to take out before you can open the gearbox up, and it's a little different from just about any other gun. If you really want to get into the details, go watch Brian from Echo 1's video. He's got a fantastic video that shows you how to take apart the entire gun. This video I'm just talking about the internals, so I'm not going to show you how to take everything apart. Now I just opened this up, and a lot of things are pretty obvious. A, the gears are more than obviously proprietary. Tappet Plate and a few other things are going to be proprietary as well. I'm going to get this cleaned up, but before I do, let me point out this has the usual Chinese gunk toothpaste grease in here. Ugh, not my favorite stuff, so I'm going to clean this up, then we'll check everything out. So let's go ahead and start with the air compression system. Cylinder, cylinder head, piston, piston head, and nozzle. Now, the nozzle is pretty short. It's just under 17 millimeters long. The cylinder is just the regular long type cylinder. This will fit in many things. SR25s, anything but the G&G. Some L85s, and obviously the CSR. It is chrome plated, and it seems pretty smooth, so I don't see a reason to really swap it out. The cylinder head is a little different. You can see it has little bits of reinforcement there. Sometimes your plastic cylinder head will crack. That helps to prevent that, I'm hoping. The damper on it is a little concaved and feels pretty soft, and this does have one O-ring on it. The piston does have this long spacer in here that goes to about here, so you can use standard springs in there. If you want to use a longer spring that goes in a different gun, you can remove that and put a regular piston head in. Now this adds a lot of weight to it. I'm not that thrilled with it because it ends up being very heavy with this metal weight. It's a lot of shock that goes into the gearbox shell. But the shell seems pretty strong, so I'd imagine it'll take that kind of punishment for quite a while. This piston head is the usual Cyma kind of deal. It's a little concave that it is ported. Gets an alright seal in there, I believe. And it is a half-tooth design because you have some pretty high torque gears in here. It is a long type piston, and these are a little harder to find in half-tooth. You can see here that the second to last tooth is kind of shaved down a little bit so the sector gear doesn't hit it when it's pulling the piston back. Chances are the AOE on this is not the greatest, so goods and bads. Now the Tappet Plate has similarities to a version 7 Tappet Plate, and that the spring sits along here on the side. It's also similar to a P90 in that respect. But it is proprietary and it is pretty flexible, which goods and bads also. And it is the usual Cyma Echo 1 quality, so it's alright. I wouldn't expect it to break anytime soon. The spring guide is metal, ball bearing, and a version 3 style. Now the spring is a little shorter than most springs. It is about an M150 power from what I've heard, and it was getting about 500 feet per second pretty consistently with the chrono test. Now, something pretty different in this gun is the gear set. Yes, it has a set of 4 gears in the gear train in here. It's a little different, and I believe they are similar, if not identical, to the gears that are in the Real Sword SVD. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you can, if these for some incredibly terrible reason break, the Echo One parts shop does have spares that you can pick up for not very much. It's a very good price for a gear set, actually. These are the usual Cyma or Echo One quality, and they are actually pretty tough. I've ran Cyma or Echo One gears on some pretty high-powered springs at good rates of fire for a long time, and they're very durable. Something a little different as well is the anti-reversal latch. This is completely proprietary. Now, the electrical assembly is actually identical to any AK-47. It's a version 3 trigger switch, so you can take any kind of version 3 trigger switch you want. If it's a KWA with some gold contacts that work really, really well, you can use that, and I highly recommend that. But these will last quite a while. Now, because the gun has 4 gears, it will have 8 bushings, of course. It does have 7mm bearing bushings installed. Goods and bads about bearings. I've had quite a few break on me, but it's rare if I ever have them break from an Echo One or Cyma. I'd say these are fine, but because you're running a 150 spring, I do have to recommend that you replace these with some solid metal bushings. That'll just be more durable in the long run. Overall, this seems like a pretty solid gun. I have to admit the shimming was not the greatest stock, and it could do with a better grease and shim job. You can also probably correct the AOE, and that'll help a little bit. It does have a handful of upgrades that you can throw in there, but not a ton, so if you guys are really into tricking out your guns and upgrading them, this might not be your gun. But from Jordan's report, the owner of this gun, it's very accurate. It's not the quietest thing as far as gear noise, but it is a very, very long-range accurate gun stock. It has my recommendation after you tune it, of course. Thanks for watching. I'm Prodigy from Airsoft Team Kilo23. Don't forget to check out Inside the Mech Box and Airsoft.com on YouTube.com. Take it easy, guys.